Access, an inside look at what it takes to operate Iowa's largest entertainment and convention facilities. This is Iowa Events Center All Access from Iowa Everywhere.
For 20 years, people have gathered, connected, shopped, and learned by attending meetings, trade shows, galas, conventions, and sporting events. In the past year, we have added new space and refreshed the meeting rooms and exhibit halls. As we look to the future, we welcome a new partner that has been committed to downtown Des Moines and central Iowa since 1911 and continues supporting the community we both call home. Coming January 1st, 2025, welcome to the EMC Expo Center.
Well, there it is, the EMC Expo Center coming to Des Moines, Iowa, January 1st. We'll be replacing the Hy-Vee Hall down at the Iowa Event Center. Matt Van Winkle, Adam Flack joining you for another episode of All Access here on the Iowa Everywhere Podcast Network. Adam, you guys made this announcement Monday, and we just saw you a few weeks ago at the Casey Center announcement. So you guys have been busy. You guys have a lot of signage that you're going to need to be replacing here in the next few months.
Yeah, it's been a busy couple months here. I mean, the process doesn't get over in 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, you're talking probably 8 months to work with EMC on something here, and then probably about a year for Casey's that you really have to go through all the different contracts and policies and logo design and all the talking points. So we've been working on it a long time, finally able to talk about it publicly, which is great. And we're really excited. EMC has been a great partner so far, just in terms of getting us through the contract phase. They're excited about it. They're from Des Moines. Hy-Vee was awesome for 20 years, with Hy-Vee Hall. You couldn't have done the project at the Iowa Event Center without Wells Fargo and Hy-Vee, just based on their investments and helping that project get to the end. But with the 20 years up, elected not to renew. And so it was on us to go find a new partner on behalf of Polk County. And luckily, EMC Insurance was all about it.
Yeah, it's a 10-year naming rights partnership with EMC Insurance. So, yeah, like you said, Des Moines-based commercial insurance organization. And it's so cool that you guys have been able to partner with these local businesses, and people will recognize the name. They've heard of EMC, and like you mentioned, over 2,000 employees work for EMC that live right here in the state of Iowa. So it's pretty cool to have those local connections, kind of like we have with Casey Center as well.
Yeah, from the EMC side, they went through a rebrand recently, and so obviously there's a marketing play here to really talk about their brand and get it in front of people. Especially with the right kind of clients. They do a lot of commercial insurance. Well, they're going to be able to get in front of different businesses and companies that are hosting their events here at the EMC Expo Center. So made perfect synergies from that standpoint. Love the fact that they're based in downtown. Sarah and her team are, just a couple blocks away if we need to strategize or talk about anything. So yeah, we're really excited. And they've hosted meetings here before. Obviously, their employees come to a lot of events. So it is a natural fit. And we're excited to get started here and get some new signage up.
So for people that don't know, or maybe haven't been through Hy-Vee Hall, maybe they just have been to the arena, can you explain to people what the Expo Center is and what's all included within it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, when you talk about the Iowa Event Center as a whole, that's the umbrella, kind of look to us. And so within that Iowa Event Center umbrella, there's those three distinct venues. It's EMC Expo Center, which used to be Hy-Vee Hall. It's the Community Choice Convention Center at Veterans Memorial. And then there's the soon-to-be Casey Center, which is currently Wells Fargo Arena. And so you've got kind of an arena side and a convention center side. And so if you look at Hy-Vee Hall, it's big expo space. So it's 100,000 square feet of continuous space, great for trade shows and big events like that. There's also 8 meeting rooms and then a new junior ballroom downstairs. So it's really flexible space. We can break up the expo hall or the meeting rooms into different sizes. And so it really is catered to those clients that need a big or small space.
Gosh, you think about like how much use that area actually gets. I mean, you think the arena holds a lot more people, obviously, but the Expo Center is the one that's getting a lot more day-to-day use, the things that people are in, businesses are utilizing, and companies are coming in to hold conferences and stuff like that. So really an important space for you guys to utilize as well.
It's really important. Yeah, that's, when you talk about the arena, you're probably doing 132 event days a year or something like that. When you're talking about the convention center, you're probably talking over 300 event days a year. Now, that could be an event like the Ag Expo that comes in for 2 or 3 days at a time. It could be a small meeting that's hosted in one of the meeting rooms for just a day. So there's a wide variety and wide range of different types of events that happen there. It could be the All Iowa Attack using the expo halls as basketball courts for a week. Really just kind of depends on the client. But the Expo Center and the Convention Center work hand in hand, and a lot of events flow back and forth between the two. They're connected inside, obviously, by Skywalk. And so you might have a general session in the ballroom up in Community Choice, and then go down to a meeting room in Hy-Vee Hall, soon to be EMC Expo Center.
Yeah, and I know you guys have done a lot of improvements to that area, and additionally, the junior ballroom, which has just been completed, and you guys are starting to host events in there. So it's a really nice, a lot of bright new space in there, a lot of things that have been refreshed as well for people when they come and see it.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about working for Polk County. So Oakview Group, who's the management company and who I work for, hired by Polk County to manage the day-to-day of the facility, booking and marketing and cleaning, everything soup to nuts. So the great thing about Polk County is they've always been supportive of protecting their asset, and they own the buildings. They understand the need to refresh spaces, reimagine spaces if we need to. And so they're, when you come to them with an idea of adding the junior ballroom in the old Iowa Hall of Pride space, it's a quick yes. It's how can we get this done? Makes sense. You need it for the business purpose. So they've been great partners, and we look forward to continuing to work with them into the future.
EMC's president and CEO, Scott Jean, says, we're very excited to bring the EMC Expo Center to Central Iowa. It's a great way to support the community we call home. A venue like this is so important for a city to have, and we're thrilled that our name will be attached to a space that will host so many meaningful events for so many people and organizations. And as you said, 20 years of Hy-Vee Hall. They've been a great partner of you guys, and I know that they're going to be staying on with you guys with the Hy-Vee Ticks as well, right?
Yeah, and that's something just to clarify for everybody, that Hy-Vee Hall and the HyVeeTicks.com brand are two completely separate agreements. So for those of you that are around in 2005 when we opened, the ticketing used to be through DollsTickets.com, the old Dolls food stores. And when they ended their agreement and ended up closing and selling, Hy-Vee jumped on board and has been our partner since then. So the Hy-Vee Hall has been around since late 2004. Hy-Vee Ticks is more of a recent thing. They've probably been our partner about 15 years now. And that contract runs through, I think, September of 2026. So we'll start renewal talks on that, I'm sure, soon. We got to let the dust settle on this one, though, first. It's been an exciting day for us.
That is exciting. Well, you guys had an event with the media down at the new EMC Expo Center. And again, that will be coming in January, correct? January 1st?
Yeah, right away, January. So we announced the Casey's one a couple weeks ago, almost a month ago now. And that one, we have a little bit longer lead time. It goes July is when that will change hands. This one, it's like 6 weeks. It's a sprint to get signage done. So the new exterior signage will be temporary for a while as we get that updated and get the new signs fabricated. The interior stuff will get changed in time for January, but it'll be a little bit delayed to get the permanent exterior signage done.
Gosh, it's as we talked about in the past, it's hard to believe that the event center space and Wells Fargo Arena and Hy-Vee Hall and now EMC Expo Center, 20 years it's been since that opened, and this is kind of turning the page and opening a new chapter for you guys down there. So it's pretty exciting.
It is, and it's a mix. We had the Holiday Boutique here last weekend, so great show to kick off the holiday shopping season. That's one of those events that it's a lot of vendors that come in and then the public coming in to see the space. You might have EMC come with a big corporate meeting where you've got just the employees down there. So the mix between corporate and leisure activities, and you can't say enough about Catch Des Moines and what they do to help attract those big events, to stay in our hotels and eat in our restaurants and then host their meetings here. So yeah, all in all, it's great. We'll see what happens in the next 10 years.
Awesome. Well, you guys had exciting news with the EMC Expo Center, but you also have an exciting announcement that you have to make, a new comedian that's going to be coming in 2025.
Yeah, Matt Rife is coming in. The Stay Golden Tour just announced and will be going on sale this week. June 8th, it's a Sunday night, so it's just a week after Shane Gillis. But Matt Rife has had just a meteoric rise. He played Stevens Auditorium last year.
I think a couple sold out shows at Stevens even. So
yeah, he's very popular. So we're excited to have him in. Does a lot of crowd work, which is pretty funny. I don't know if you know the story. There's a lady that brought him cookies to one of his shows at Stevens or Sherman or something.
I'm recalling this. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's local here, so maybe we can get her involved in promoting it. But that, if you haven't seen that, you can go to YouTube and see Matt Rife cookies, and I'm sure it'll come up.
It's incredible that a lot of these comedians get to rise through social media, kind of like you said. Like, he has such a big social media presence. He's a younger comedian. A lot of these people can get their material out there. They'll record like their smaller sets and they'll get their clips out there. And I know he's one of those artists, one of those comedians that has done that and really has used social media to his advantage and has just built a cult following.
Yeah, it's really interesting when you look at comedians, because you still have those well-established comedians that don't like you to put anything out there. They really want to control what gets out on social. That's why they put your phones in a yonder bag, or they, say no phones at the show, because they want to release any content if they do at all. And most of them don't do it. And then you get this, these newer comics that are coming in, like a Matt Rife, who really understands the power of social media and how it can increase his following. I think with the crowd work, maybe it's a little bit easier to do that because every show is probably a little bit different, when you're just kind of feeding off the crowd and conversations you're having. So he does a lot of good on social. So check him out and then buy tickets for a show on June
8th. So when will those tickets go on sale, Adam?
This Friday.
Friday.
On sale Friday. Yep. November 22nd, 10 a.m.
Awesome. Well, you guys announced last week Shane Gillis. Those tickets are on sale, highvtix.com. That shows May 31st. And I'm guessing that one's going to sell really well too. He's one of the biggest comics out right now.
Yeah, we've got a great start on sales for Shane Gillis. Perfect time to go on sale here, getting ready for holiday shopping and, different kind of comic. And that's kind of the fun of what we've been able to do with comedy. Sometimes you're like, oh, it's another comedian. Well, when you host a concert, it's not just another concert. It's either a country concert, or a rock concert, or a young teeny bop show. Whereas with comedians, the different styles of comics as well, whether it be crowd work with Matt Rife or, more adult humor, I guess, with Shane Gillis. And then you got Maniscalco with a lot of his, physical comedy and facial expressions. So you get different types of shows in here as comedians as well. And it's always a little earlier night for us. So we like that too.
Yeah. If you don't want to wait till 2025, you mentioned it, Sebastian Maniscalco coming December 15th. 7:00 show. Doors open at 6:00. He's bringing special guests Pete Correale.
Sure.
It sounds Italian. Correale. That sounds right.
Bringing Pete with them.
That's going to be a great show. I know you guys have been waiting a long time for this one, but he's another one of those comics that really does some like crowd work, really engaging on stage, and he's really built a big following too.
He has. It's funny. I was listening to Murph and Andy last week, and the pre-roll video ran for Maniscalco, and I heard him say, like, people know his Hamilton joke by now. So, this thing's been on sale for almost a full year now. So the advertisements have been out there for a long time. It'll be great to be talking about other events after he plays off. But yeah, he's great way to end 2024, come in, get some laughs in, and then take your holiday break.
That special is on Netflix right now. So I was actually watching it the other day before I was watching. I had all this time to kill before the Paul Tyson fight, because my Netflix was just buffering for me for that. But I could get over to Netflix and watch the Sebastian Maniscalco special. So if you want a little preview of what's to come December 15th when he comes to Des Moines, go check that out on Netflix.
What did you think of that fight? If you call it a fight.
I was very excited for it. There was a lot of hype. There was a lot of buildup, and tried to log on to Netflix, and I could not do it. It was just spinning for me. I tried on my phone, and I finally was able to load it on my phone. And but it was just in a very poor quality. It was not high definition by any means. But so I could barely see what was happening. But once I kind of saw how this fight was going and I kind of figured out what was going on, it was kind of a money grab. I kind of lost interest. So what did you think?
Well, just what you said, the fight was not in high definition. You know, it was poor quality as well as the stream. So,
sure.
You know, it was cool to see him in the ring again, but you could just tell he didn't have it, you know, and it didn't look to me like Jake Paul was really going after him too hard either.
No.
You know, it just seemed like
see their exchange on social media afterwards. He was like, "I love you, Mike. Like, you're the best. You're the GOAT." And it's like, yeah, he had no intentions of knocking him out by any means. He just wanted to get in the ring with a legend.
Yep. Well, the fight before that, though, the female fight,
that was
incredible.
But again, that was when everyone was trying to log on, and it was just buffering for me. So I was catching bits and pieces of it. So
I got to see a lot of that fight, and then that was a great fight. You know, you go from that fast action, tons of punches thrown and landed, and then you go to the Tyson Paul fight, and it was just like, well, maybe they should have swapped places on the card.
I do think overall that it did build up some nice excitement for boxing. Boxing, I think, is having a little bit of a resurgence, and I think, you know, Paul could have a hand in that if he actually decides to take this thing seriously and fight some real people instead of just kind of gimmicks like that. So we'll hope that kind of gives a boost to the sport, kind of like UFC has seen, you know, with some big marquee fights. And UFC, I really, I don't know, it was probably the mid to late 2000s when that kind of overtook boxing, in my opinion.
Sure.
Kind of maybe when Tyson's last fight was 2005, when UFC really started taking the reins there. So we'll see what happens to the sport. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, my 8-year-old daughter was all excited about Jake Paul, the YouTuber, fighting and boxing. And so I think it has brought a younger audience and a younger crowd to it. I agree with you, though. At some point, he's got to fight some in their prime fighters. But he is bringing a lot of money and exposure to boxing. And now you just got to hope they can capitalize on it. Because I'll tell you, we had a boxing event here a few years ago. Oh. It's not popular right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it needs some help, and maybe this will be the kick that it needs, or the punch that it needs, right? Well, once again, so those Matt Rife tickets will go on sale this coming Friday, correct?
This Friday at 10 a.m. Yep, HiVTix.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Adam. Appreciate you, and welcome to the EMC Expo Center as well.
Yeah, just one more thank you for Hy-Vee. They've been a tremendous partner. I know they've got a lot of balls in the air with different sponsorships and things that they're doing, and we couldn't be more excited and thankful for them and what they did over the past 20 years. But now that we're turning the page, you know, EMC is we're excited to see what we can do with them as well as with Casey's here in the next 6 months. So all good changes and all, you know, kind of the evolution of the space. So we're excited.
Awesome. Well, for Adam Flack, I'm Matt Van Winkle. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of All Access, presented by the Iowa Event Center here on the Iowa Everywhere Podcast Network.